Very early in my life, I decided that in addition to collecting coins and other things I enjoyed collecting, I wanted to collect good people. I knew very early on that would be the single greatest source of happiness. Good people in my life. What would you say is the single most important question a society can ask? You may not even have an answer because it's not a question that people ask that often, but I have an answer. Given the amount of pain that people cause other people, given the amount of sheer evil that has taken place, cruelty, meanness, bullying, not to mention murder and rape and larceny and burglary and embezzlement, gratuitous hurt. Of course, people do good things as well. I don't deny that, and thank God they do. But given that long list, wouldn't you think the most important question any society could ask is how do we make good people? But by and large, that's not what's asked. And I'll bet that the vast majority of people would have a different list of the things that they put before becoming a good person. Good athlete, good student, good salesperson, good worker, whatever it might be. If everybody thought, how could I be a better person next year or next week or tomorrow or today, the world would be a beautiful place. So the truth is, while it's the most important question society can ask, people don't tend to ask it. I think it was thought about more in the past because we thought about character development in children more than we do today. But at least at the time of making this video, it is not a generally asked question. So let's ask it. How do we make good people? And my primary answer is you have to want to be a good person. So here's a question. Name something you've done in the last 2 years that you did in order to improve your character. I don't know if I should be laughing, but I am. I'm laughing because the truth is, I can't imagine that most people have an answer to the question. Oh, are you kidding? I got a long list of things that I've done in the last 2 years to improve my character. Now, if I said to you, let's say you are at school, name something in the last 2 years you did to improve your grades. I'm sure you will have an answer. At work, name something you've done in the last 2 years to improve your income. I'm sure you'd have an answer. But improve your character? People just don't think about it. And that's my point. It's the most important question in society, but very few people think about it.
Hello, I'm Dennis Prager, and I want to talk to you about the most important subject in life.
I went around a city that I've lived in for many years, Los Angeles, California, USA, and asked people, are you a good person?
I consider myself to be a pretty good person.
Yeah, I'm a good person.
Every single person said, of course I'm a good person.
Of course I'm a good person.
So it's a very interesting riddle, isn't it? Most everybody thinks they're a good person, and yet there's a fair amount of evil out there, isn't there? And I don't only mean murder, of course that exists, and all the horrible things, just in terms of the pain that people cause other people.
In your entire life, what has caused you the most grief? Natural disasters, things such as earthquakes or disease, or the way people have treated you?
Okay, so if it's tragedy or illness, please raise your hand. Been caused by other people, please raise your hand.
So how does that make sense? If everybody thinks that they're good, why are there so many people who do bad? Because it's very easy to believe you're a good person. And you know why? Because we don't assess our goodness by our behavior. We assess our goodness by our intentions. I have another question. Do you hold anything to be more important than being a good person? For example, if you are a young person, you probably, if you were honest, would say, well, being a good student is number one. If you fill in another noun, it will always precede person. I want to be a good student before I want to be a good person. Now, you may not say that, but you live it. Because how much do people work on being a good student versus how much do they work on being a good person? How much do parents tell their kids, hey, listen, I'd like you to be a good student, but frankly, your grades are far less important to me than your character. How many parents have said that? I suspect that the number is extremely small. On my radio show, I have asked parents an interesting question. I have done this now for decades. So I tell parents, I'd like you to ask your child, I don't care if your child is 5 years old or 50 years old. I'd like you to ask your child this question. What do you think I, your mother, or what do you think I, your father, most want or wanted you to be? And then give 4 choices: smart, successful, happy, or good. What is it, now again, not what is it you most want to be, what is it you think I have most wanted you to be in your life? Well, as I said, I've done this for decades, and it's fascinating the responses that I get. So often, parents will call me, say they did in fact ask their child, and they expected the child to say good. Almost no child has said that. Some do, obviously, but most kids grow up, certainly middle class, upper middle class, and upper class, thinking that the thing their parents most want them to be is a good student. Good person is not basically on the list. So I said the first thing to becoming a good person is to want to be a good person, but that means you have to place it very high on the list. I think number 1, but I'm okay if it's tied for number 1. If you devote as much time to being a good person as to being a good worker or good student or good athlete, that would be terrific. So in terms of time and effort, people put in a lot more time and a lot more effort into being a good, and then you fill in the blank, than being a good person. Every day when I walk into work, virtually every single day, I walk through the parking lot going into the building from where I broadcast, and I see at least one car taking up 2 spots for no reason other than the person didn't give a damn about leaving the place open. Which brings me to a very important point about trying to be a good person. You have to be self-aware. And truth is, most people aren't. They don't look at themselves from outside of themselves. How am I coming off? How am I behaving? People don't think that way. I have often imagined what a great boon it would be if everybody hired a camera crew to follow them for a week. When video cameras first came out, I immediately invested. I bought both the camera and the recorder, and I visited my parents who in winters lived in Florida. And I put the camera on a tripod. Very quickly at the meal, everybody forgot except me that there was a video taking place. Then I showed the video to my parents, and my father, I'll never forget, he was struck, painfully struck, by the fact that he was licking his fingers while eating chicken. And my mother said, "Mac, How many years have I been telling you not to lick your fingers when you have chicken? And it never worked. But then he saw himself do it, and he never did it again. Part of the problem in becoming a good person, aside from the fact that it's just not a priority, is how much work it takes. There are two things you have to battle, at least two things: human nature in general and your nature specifically. That's why it's worth knowing your own nature. My father was not delicate about it. Maybe he should have been a bit more delicate, but he did me a big service. He regularly told me when I was a kid that I'm lazy. And the truth is, he was right. I had no argument. And so I sort of devoted my life to fighting my laziness. Now, you may not be lazy. Some people are built-in workers. Not me. I'm a built-in, have a good time guy. I don't mean a good time parties, but enjoy life. And I have so many hobbies that could take up my time. I enjoy travel. I've been to 130 countries. I mean, I rather travel than work, to be honest. Okay? I rather listen to music. I rather read stuff I'm interested in on the internet. I rather go to concerts. I mean, the list is extremely long of things I rather do than work. I don't enjoy working out. I have a trainer 3 times a week. They are not my favorite hours of the week. But because my dad told me regularly that I was lazy, at least I was aware of it. So I knew what I had to fight. Do you know what you have to fight in your nature? Well, that's a really important question that you need to answer to be a better person. So, what is a good person? Good person comes in 2 varieties, micro and macro. Micro is how we behave on a daily level. Macro is the values that we hold about society generally and about our own lives. I'll talk more about micro than macro, but they're both relevant. So let's go to micro. So I have a list: honesty, courage, kindness, gratitude, responsibility, integrity, morality, being self-aware, which I have already spoken about. So let's begin with honesty. So honesty is, the obvious is don't tell lies, which, by the way, is a pretty good piece of advice. Don't tell lies. Is there any occasion in life where a lie is moral? Yes. In World War II, when non-Jews would hide a Jew and then lie about where the Jew was, that was moral, okay? But those examples are pretty rare. In general, it is a really bad thing to lie. By the way, once you start lying, here's a very important rule of life. It's impossible to tell one lie. Impossible. Because you will have to tell more lies to cover the first lie. If somebody is cheating on their spouse and the spouse said, wait, is it true? Were you with somebody at such and such a time yesterday? So you go, oh, no. Well, where were you? So that becomes lie number 2. How did you get there? Lie number 3. It's a very bad idea to lie. But there is something bigger than just not lying to being an honest person. Are you committed to the truth? There's a price paid for being committed to truth. That's right. If there were no price paid for being committed to truth, everybody would tell the truth. So what does it take to tell the truth? One of the 2 most important aspects of goodness: courage. There are many good traits in human beings, but without courage, they're not very useful. By the way, how do you develop being courageous? The same way you develop being good. You make an affirmation that I want to be a courageous person. Basically, you become what you want to be. More or less everything in life is a choice. If you choose to be courageous, you will be. You're afraid to fly? Fly. That's it. Fly. Bring somebody on board with you whose hand you can hold. Take a sedative, but fly. If you decide to be courageous, you will act on it. Kindness. Here's a good one on kindness. A lot of people think they're kind, but here's a good test. Are you kind to strangers, and are you kind to people from whom you don't need anything? For example, people are very nice to their boss. How nice are you to a waiter or waitress? I always tell people dating, don't watch how the person treats you on a date. Watch how the person treats the waiter or waitress. That's far more indicative of the character of that person. They probably want something from you, a relationship. But they don't want anything specific, obviously, from the waiter or waitress. How does the person treat that person? Do they smile at them? Do they thank them? Or even go so far as to compliment them? That's a good sign. Oh, here's a great one on the list of good traits. And I never have seen it listed. I'm not saying no one ever did, but I never saw it listed. But I think this is a big one. Are you ready? Are you easy? Yeah. Are you easy? I told my first daughter-in-law before I had my second daughter-in-law, I said to her on the phone once, I want you to know what my goal is in terms of being your husband's father and your father-in-law. I want to be easy, period. I don't want to cause you problems. I just want to be easy. It is a really beautiful aim that everybody should try to have in the life of others. And I will give you 2 examples of not being easy. One is if you're easily offended. It is amazing to me that the world, you can almost say, is divided between 2 groups. Those who are constantly insulted and those who are never insulted. If you regularly think you're offended, it's you, not the others, I promise you. That makes you very difficult to be with. You know why? It causes people to walk on eggshells because they're so afraid if they say X or Y or Z, they'll offend you. So that's a perfect way of not being easy. Here's a second one. Do you complain a lot? Complainers are not particularly good people. Just the way it is. And they're certainly not easy people. And here's the proof. Do you like being around people who complain? And now to the single most important trait to being a good person. Gratitude. Gratitude is the mother of goodness and the mother of happiness. I discussed this in another one of these talks on being happy. And by the way, the mother of happiness is gratitude. You cannot be happy if you're not grateful. No ingrate is kind. Ingratitude is a guarantor of meanness, of anger, of bitterness, of lashing out. The most obvious example in my lifetime has been all the people who were not grateful for living in America.
No. Today is not Happy 4th of July. America is not worth celebrating.
America is bull. Like, I can't afford to live.
We push this American agenda on everyone who lives here so hard. And when we go to other countries, it's just not pushed that hard. When you go other countries, they rep their country without being literally annoying about it.
Hundreds of millions of people have wanted to move to the United States of America for its unparalleled opportunities and freedom. And yet so many people born in America, raised in America, have no gratitude for this freedom.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
And I think this march will go down as one of the greatest demonstrations for freedom and human dignity.
Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept.
We draw our people, our strength, from every country and every corner of the world.
There is so much to be grateful for so many people. You don't have to live in America to be grateful. I'm just using the American example. Do you have your health? Do you say every day, boy, am I lucky? Well, you should. Either as a prayer if you're religious, or just say it if you're secular. People who walk around thinking they're fortunate or lucky or blessed, whatever term you wish to use, are better human beings. The ingrate is not a good human being. You need to develop gratitude, and I have been to families where at the meal at night, they have the family go around and each say something they are grateful for that happened that day or in general. That's a great habit to instill in a human being. Again, you can't be good if you are not grateful. Behavior is everything. First of all, I think you might want to make a list, and I mean this. Writing is very important. Make a list of something you did that day that was a good thing to another person. It doesn't have to be huge. I'll give you an example. At your workplace, presuming you have a workplace that you go to, at your workplace, there are undoubtedly janitors and other physical workers, blue-collar workers as they're called. Do you ignore them? Or do you say hello and even say, how's your day? How's it going? Doesn't have to be a long conversation, though some conversation is particularly beautiful. But honoring the humanity of the person who is on a lower social status, they shouldn't be in my opinion, but for many people, white collar is a higher social status than blue collar. But by your just saying hi, or even what's your name, it is a massively good thing to do. You are honoring the humanity of an otherwise invisible person. That's a great example of being a good person, and I would ask you to write that down if it's something that you have just initiated doing. Remember, goodness is cultivated on a daily basis with little behaviors. But little behaviors add up. And once you start doing that, it will change you. That's the key here. Behavior changes you. It is not your feelings that should animate your behavior, which brings me to a really, really important point. Don't follow your heart. It's a pretty bad idea. Here's where the religious, at least in the Judeo-Christian world, have a big advantage, because the Bible warns against following your heart more than any other single warning that I can remember. Don't follow your heart. Follow what is right. The heart doesn't lead you to what is right any more than it does with the way you eat. Your heart wants, or your emotions want, ice cream and cake and pizza, but your mind wants healthier food. And the mind is what should direct us in our goodness. Here's the thing that was done when I was a kid. I was taught to do this, and I still do this. And that is stand up when somebody older than me enters a room. It probably sounds quaint to many of you who are younger than me, but I think it's a very powerful thing to honor the person who just came into the room. By the way, I think it should be done for just about anybody. I mean, I don't think you have to do it for a kid who enters the room, but for any adult who walks into the room that you are in, to stand up and greet them. That honors that person, and it's certainly applicable for an older person. Here's a big suggestion, which is a toughie, and this really involves going against your heart in many instances. Honor your parents. Parents have called my radio show in tears because their adult daughter or their adult son won't speak to them because they don't like the way they voted in the previous election. This is something new. There are people who don't let their parents see their grandchildren because they don't like their politics. I know that some parents are so evil, I mean evil. They molested you, God forbid, when you were a child. But if it didn't get to that point, you should honor your parents. I didn't say love them. I don't care how you feel about your parents. But you should honor them because they are your parents. You are honoring their parenthood if you are not specifically honoring them. Finally, the rewards of being a good person. You will be happier and you will sleep better. I'll never forget a very successful businessman whom I knew in my 20s and 30s. He was on the board of directors of an institution where I was the director. And he once confided in me a very interesting thing. He said, "Dennis, I don't trust anybody I do business with. I believe they're all out to cheat me." And I immediately understood something. You know why he thinks everybody's out to cheat him? Because he's out to cheat everybody. And I was right. I learned later that that was, in fact, his reputation. The biggest reward probably is that you bring good people into your life. Very early in my life, I decided that in addition to collecting coins and other things I enjoyed collecting, I wanted to collect good people. I knew very early on that that would be the single greatest source of happiness. Good people in my life. But it's only possible if A, you are good, and B, if you know how important it is to value goodness. Not brains, not success, not looks, not popularity. They're all fine. But if you choose friends on those bases, rather than on the basis, first and foremost, is this a good person? You're going to be hurt. That's one of the greatest rewards of pursuing goodness. Good people enter your life. What could be better than that? It's a great reward. You will be happier. You will sleep better. You will have the reward of wonderful people in your life. But the first task is to make the decision. I want to be a good person even more than I want to be a good student, a good CEO, or a good athlete. Well, I certainly hope, I really do hope, otherwise I wouldn't have done this. I hope that all of these talks have had a deep impact on your life. That's the only reason I give them. These ideas are ideas that I have worked on for decades, for a long life. I have bounced them off an incredibly large number of people.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dennis.
The question was posed to me, are these ideas old school? The notion that if it's old, it's not good is as foolish as the notion that if it's new, it's not good. You assess everything on the basis of, is it valid? Is it good? Is it real? Is it true? Does it make my life better? And frankly, ideas that have survived for thousands of years, usually for a damn good reason. And that reason is, they work.